Hello friends, welcome back to another video. I am very excited that you're here. I just made myself comfortable on the couch. I hope you are comfortable too. And I thought it's the perfect time to finally sit down and give you a bit of an update on what has been happening in the house in Italy. Why I haven't shared a lot in the last couple of months and what the current status is, because obviously we are definitely having a little bit of a delay, as you probably have noticed. So I wanted to clear up on what's currently happening, the current status, and yeah. I have already shared a little bit more in my last video about why I haven't shared so much in the last couple of months, and there are multiple reasons. So if you haven't watched that, I posted a little life update, and one of the reasons was definitely also because I never want to put something out there when it's not 100% sure. And when building a house or renovating a house, you always have so many uncertainties and there's so much that happens. It's always when it comes to construction sites and renovation projects that you definitely need to be very flexible. And I know that a lot of you will probably be very interested in all of the baby steps that I had, but I just didn't feel like sharing everything until I kind of had an idea of what was going on and what's going to happen in the next couple of months. So that was basically why I didn't really share everything and why I just kind of stopped posting. However, I did film everything along the way, so maybe in the future I will be sharing more of that content. But for now, I did make myself some notes here and I will be sharing with you the update. Basically, I think from June, that's where we will be starting. I will also be making a separate video on how to buy a house in Italy, the things that we had to do, the things we ran through, the whole process. So if you have any questions on that, please comment below because that's literally the next video that I will be doing. So if you need anything or if you're just interested in the process, let me know. I will be sharing some of the details that were relevant for me. So quick recap, and the lighting is changing today, so I hope it's not bothering on camera. But a quick recap of the whole process. So we started off looking at the house in September 2025. That's the first time that we saw it. That's the first time we viewed it. And we fell in love. Before even putting in an offer, we just took some time off to really think about the project, even, develop first ideas and plans. Because I think it's super important that before you go into actually building and buying something, you need to have a plan of what you want to do. So that's basically what we did. And then in October, when we were very, very sure that that would be the perfect place to build, or to renovate, we decided to put in an offer, and that took a little while. It took, I think, around November until the offer was accepted. And then in December, I think it was December 22nd or December 21st, we had the first notary's appointment. So quick recap about that. The notary's appointment, the first one, is actually the most important one because that's where you really get everything fixed. And then there's a time in between the first and the second notary's appointment where a lot of plans will be approved, where the authorities check all of the documents. And that's just the time basically where you're just hoping that everything runs smoothly, that you don't have any debt on the property from previous owners, and that everything works out well. And that's basically what we did. We also had the architect involved. We did all of the plans and we talked through visuals and just everything that we could. So that was a very intense phase, but it's basically more about discussing what I wanted, what's possible, and so on. And then in June, we had the second notary's appointment, which was super, super relieving for me because that was the point when the house literally belonged to us. And then we basically had some very big plans and ambitious plans to start building in October this year. So basically a month ago. However, as you can see, that didn't happen. And the reason for that is actually because there was a change of law. So let's put it like this. We were working full on from June, basically. We handed in all the plans. We had some 3D visuals. We had a lot of talks with the architect, with the construction company. Everyone involved was so onto it. And then I think in August, I received an email from our architect that said that we unfortunately have to postpone the construction start. And I was really gutted. I already told about that in the last video a little bit, but I was really gutted because there was a change of law. And it's not really a change of law. It was basically that the laws we currently had in that area, they were just renewed. And the difficulty about that was that I don't want to be the person to call things out, but it was very cliche Italian style. They forgot to add a paragraph. You can think of it as the following. Usually you have a law with different paragraphs, and you have a law how you're allowed to build, what you're allowed to add, renovations, etc. in every single village, city, whatever. And in our case, that was not a problem. We had everything prepared according to the law. We even already received a lot of the building permits from, for example, the landscape authorities, which is the most important one to tackle. And actually, I forgot to mention that the landscape authorities, we handed in the plans, we handed in the 3D visuals, and they accepted it. So the local authorities for the landscape parts, they accepted it. Then we had to hand it in to the larger authorities in Milano, which is also very scary because they are not biased. They are literally just deciding you don't have any contacts there. They don't live there. They don't care literally about the houses. So I was a bit worried about that stage because, you know, if they didn't like it, they would just not accept it and then that's it. But they also agreed to it. And then we basically had the building permit already. So we were allowed to hand in the final plans to the local authorities, who would just have to basically agree that we are doing all of the changes according to the current law. Now, then, as every year, I think, they just bring out the new law. So it's not even that they change it, it's literally just that they put in a new date and some changes that may have occurred in the full set of different laws. They just bring out a new version. So basically, you can think of it as it says in area and zone XYZ, you can change rural buildings according to the law in the following way. And then they put the colon, and then they forgot to put the points how we are allowed to change it, which is insane. So the architect was really confused. At first, he was like, what the heck? Like, there's something missing. Am I reading the law incorrectly? Did I get the wrong version? And so he made an appointment with the authorities. He explained the situation. He showed it to them. And, well, of course, they would never admit that. But, well, they basically forgot to add it. It's literally just a copy paste thing that they forgot. And then we basically had to wait until the law will be added and renewed again. And in order not to wait and to lose too much time, we have now requested just to build based on the law that was there before the changes. We were just looking at the laws that the region had years ago and up until that point, and we just said, hey, we would love to request to build based on this and that, although it's missing in the current law, but it will probably be added and renewed in the same way. So we are trying to kind of go around the waiting period of having to wait until they actually renew the law and just request it individually. I was really gutted in the beginning, but I think everything happens for a reason. And I think we will hopefully be very lucky with that, because right now the regulations were that we're only allowed to add 100 cubic meters to the building. That's just the law in the area, in that region. In rural buildings in a specific zone, you're allowed to add 100 cubic meters. However, one of the things that was really standing out and sticking out, and fingers crossed it will work, we had the difficulty that all different villages in the area still have different laws. And since a few years, they're trying to make one law for all of them. So they're trying to basically bring all of the different laws together and have one single law set for the whole region. Now, in all of the other regions, in all of the other villages, you are allowed to add 150 cubic meters instead of 100 cubic meters. So that would bring us 50 cubic meters more, which is around 1 meter more in the width of the house. So imagine 1 meter wider bedroom. That's quite a bit. So we already talked about that before the law actually was changed and we had the difficulties with the missing parts, and we were actually considering of waiting until next year to see if they will actually bring the laws together and that we could have the 150 cubic meters instead of the 100 ones. So that was kind of the discussion that we were on beforehand, and now this has basically put us off until spring next year when we are allowed to start. And we are hoping that maybe at the beginning of next year they will be putting together all the laws, and we already requested to build it with 150 cubic meters. That would obviously be a massive game changer. I would be so happy about that. And, thinking about it, just losing half a year is not a lot when you consider that we might be able to add 50 cubic meters more. To be honest, of course, that was kind of sad because we planned to start building in October this year and we were planning to move in by next summer. Now, the new plan is to start building in latest May 2026. Until then, we will prepare everything so that once the construction starts, everything runs hopefully smoothly so that we have everything prepped. We do not need to have any waiting times for materials, for all of the construction companies stuff. We are prepped. We did a lot of things in the meantime. We also talked to the companies who do the electricity in the area because we want to obviously put the electricity line that currently runs through the garden underground. We already handed in that. We handed in a new request because in order to build our house, we need to put a new road through our garden because the road that leads to the house is a bit small and, just a little bit difficult to reach for larger materials. So we needed to request a separate road. What else did we do? We had geological excavations happening. We had a lot of different things. So we even took some samples from the soil to see what's underneath it. We had so many different people come and it was super interesting. We also found a solution how to handle the fresh water, how to handle the dirt water. So many things have happened, and I think the planning is really good. I've also actually requested to build a new separate building in the garden, which will probably be my office. And, just having the time makes it so much easier for us to plan everything and to also work with the brands that I really want to work with. So I think it's not too bad. Obviously, it's a little bit sad that we can't move in next summer. However, the new plan from the construction company is that we will be able to move in until next year, Christmas. So 2026, Christmas and New Year's Eve, we hopefully will be able to celebrate in the house. Obviously, the house will not be fully ready, but that's not the plan. The plan is that we move into one room. We have a bathroom, we have a very, very limited kitchen, and just a place to sleep. And then we will take it from there step by step. I want to do a lot, as I said. I want to take you all along. That's part of the project. And so just having the option to live there, to start to put everything together. We did have a lot of different plans, and I will probably do a separate video on that if you're interested to see the different versions and how we evolve from the first plan to the final plans that we have right now. Because of course, if we have, my office in a separate building, we had so many different options to fill that space in the house. I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Everyone who's seen it is really, really excited. I cannot wait to share the process with you, and the next steps will be that we get feedback on the 18th of December from the authorities, the first feedback. We are all hoping that that will be positive. Then we will be handing in another thing to the authorities, which basically is asking for the extra 50 cubic meters. That will take feedback until probably early February. And then we can request another separate one because we do have some other wishes for the facade. That's something we have to request as well. It's quite a long process. Again, as I said, I will definitely do a separate video on that. So if you have any questions on buying and building a house in Italy, let me know. There are so many different stages that we have to run through, but I think that's just something to keep for another video. So I am hoping I have good news soon. I will also be uploading a house tour. I'll go back to Italy next week, so I'll hopefully be able to film something. I really want to show you the grounds. I want to show you the plans that I have for the garden. And then let's pray that everything runs smoothly and we can start in April or May with building the dream house. I will be sharing everything here, and I think once the construction starts, there will be a lot of other things to talk about. In the meantime, I will definitely be preparing some insights into the plans, into the 3D visuals that I have, so that you finally get an understanding of what I have planned and what we will actually be doing with the house, because I do understand that it's quite difficult to see the vision that I have for this literally very rundown house. So if you want to see that, make sure to follow me also on the other social media channels. And if you have any questions, let me know, and I cannot wait to share with you what's coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.